Sixers and the Knicks, they split the regular season, but New York did win the last meeting by a cool 49 points. This will be just the second postseason meeting between these two in the last 35 years. Looking ahead to that series, a fun little catch-up with VJ Edgecombe right after tonight's game. So full disclosure, VJ Edgecombe, I was in a completely different part of the building when they were like, hey, do you want to talk to VJ? So I sprinted over here to talk to you after this big game. First of all, you played great, and it's a win. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. I say now it's on to the next game. Glad, we came back, did what we had to do. Now we're focused on New York.
Do you need to turn to Andre and just like take a snack? I mean, he's like floating food in your face right now. It feels very rude. Like just take a bite.
I mean, I love patties. So
this is for me though. I brought this.
I thought it was for me, but he brought it so he can eat it. So it's cool.
That's just rude. If he wasn't like, up to here, you should just like give him a nice little shove. For you guys in this series, it was a remarkable comeback. When it was 3-1, what gave you the confidence that this outcome today could be the thing?
We know we were right there. We just had to stay together the whole time. Like I said, we've been fighting hard all season, all series. Even though we've been faced with a lot of ups and downs, but we stayed solid, we stayed disciplined. And yeah, I think that's what allowed us to, come back and win the series.
How much of a factor was it when Joel Embiid returned to the team?
Man, he's a big factor. Like I say, he just requires someone's gravity, and he's so good. He's just so good at basketball. So he's an elite player, and he just wants us to go out there, have fun, and play hard. So yeah. Okay,
so let's be honest here. You're a young guy. Obviously, your history with the Sixers is not 44 years in length, but the Sixers' history against the Celtics in a Game 7, and then just the Sixers' history in a Game 7 period. How familiar are you with just how not great that history has been?
Be honest, I'm not familiar at all, but I want to mark myself in history. I want this team to go down in history. So, like I said, we went out there and just played hard, and I think that's what allowed us to just come out with the victory. Just come out, just putting ourselves in history books.
Okay.
I'm not really familiar with it, but yeah.
Fair enough, because you did just that. I mean, no Sixers team had ever come back from a 3-1 deficit, and it had been a very long time since the Sixers were able to win the seventh game in a series. So for you personally to be a part of that, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. It means a lot, but it just shows us a step in the right direction. Our ultimate goal is obviously a championship, and I said we can't get to a championship if we didn't win the first series. Now it's on to the next series. So our main focus right now is New York.
All right. No, your main focus right now is to go track down Andre and get your own patty, man. I mean, let's be honest here. Go get some food.
Then,
thank you.
Then New York. Thank you. Thank you.
Raptors looking to force a Game 7, down 1.
Call me crazy, call me psychic, but I saw this one coming tonight.
Barrett 3, off the heel, and
I'm willing to live and die on me taking that shot. When you have that confidence, good things will happen.
Game 7 coming.
Well, that thriller in Toronto and the Pistons' crazy comeback in Orlando has given us Sunday with not one but 2 Game 7s. Toronto will try to keep the momentum going against Cleveland. The Raptors are 0-1 in Game 7s on the road. Cleveland 6-2 in Game 7, which is the second best record in Game 7s all time. Of course, none of those previous games were with these current rosters. And after their collapse in the second half of Game 6, the Magic will have to recompose themselves quickly for Game 7 in Detroit. Orlando hasn't won a Game 7 since 2009. Detroit, though, has won its last 2.
2 more first-round Game 7s in the NBA today. Tonight in Cleveland, the Raptors and Cavaliers square off. The home team has won every game in this series, and each of the last 3 have been decided by 5 points or less. That includes Toronto's 2-point win in Game 6 on Friday, but it all starts in Detroit. 3:30 Eastern on ABC as the Pistons host the Magic. This is just the 5th time that a 1-8 series has gone 7 games. The 1 seed has won the previous 4 instances.
And you already know we got both Game 7s covered today. Our Jamal Collier is in Cleveland for Raptors Cavs. Youngmisuk is in Detroit for from Magic Pistons. Ohm, let's start with you. You were at the arena in Game 6. You can confirm whether there was a literal lid on the rim for Orlando. Coming off of that historic comeback 2 days ago, how's Detroit preparing for Game 7?
Yeah, it was quite the magic act in Game 6, a vanishing act for Orlando. But after Game 5, when the Pistons won here, I asked J.B. Bickerstaff, does it feel like the Pistons have a little more life in this series? Remember, they were down 3-1. J.B. Bickerstaff said, until the fat lady starts singing, we're always going to have life. So after Game 6, I said, is this what you meant by the fat lady singing? Because you waited until you were down 24 in the second half and had a historic comeback. And he said, a team is going to have to choke the life out of the Pistons before they're done. I asked Cade Cunningham, what can a comeback like that do for the Pistons going to Game 7? He said, none of it's going to matter unless we win on Sunday, but we know we have to lock down on defense. That same defense that suffocated the Magic into 23 consecutive missed shots in Game 6. Of course, the Magic, if they're going to win today, have to do it without Franz Wagner, who will miss a third straight game with a right calf strain.
And the Pistons are just looking for their first round playoff series win since 2008. They lost 4 in a row coming in. Ohm, thank you. It's a short trip from Ohm in Detroit to Jamal in Cleveland at 2.5 hours if you hustle. Jamal, a 4-5 series being close shouldn't surprise anybody, but through 6 games, aggregate scoring 669 to 669 between these teams. How are both Toronto and Cleveland approaching tonight's Game 7, which, depending on what happens in Detroit, could mean home court in the second round?
Yeah, exactly. And home court has obviously played such a big advantage in this series. As you mentioned, the home team has won every single game so far of the first 6. That's what the Cavs are feeling good about heading into a home game in Game 7. And the fact that Donovan Mitchell said, look, fortunately or unfortunately, we've got a lot of guys who have been in this scenario before. They got experience, and they still feel like it's been their mistakes that has let the Raptors into this series. When the Cavs held onto the ball in the fourth quarter the other night, they only had 1 turnover, and they had that big fourth quarter comeback. Toronto is a team, though, that has been gaining a lot of confidence as this series has gone on. Darko Rahakovic, their head coach, said after the first 2 games, after that loss in Cleveland in Game 2, he came into the locker room and was like, look, you guys don't look tired. That is our advantage in this series, to play harder, to be relentless on defense, and to really muck the game up. And that has been really the story of this Raptors team these last handful of games. When Darko was asked after Game 6, you had Scotty Barnes playing 48 minutes, R.J. Barrett play over 40 minutes. He said, okay, this is what you were talking about? He says, no, this is the playoffs. We can still tap into another level. The last thing, Phil, they may have to do that without Brandon Ingram. He is still questionable for this game tonight, but he was in a walking boot leaving the arena the other night in Game 6. We'll see what his status looks like going forward.
Yeah, heel injury kept him out of Game 6. Historically, home teams all-time Game 7s have a significant edge, 115-41. But that trend reversed of late. They're just 7-10 the last 6 postseasons. Jamal Collier, thank you.
Quentin Richardson is back with us now to break down these 2 Game 7s. Q, let's start with the game in Cleveland. What has to happen for the Cavs to win tonight? I don't think we can't get Q's sound going right now. All right, Q, we're going to work on your sound real quick, and then we'll bring you right back because we need that insight. Phil, I'm going to send it back to you, brother.
Yeah, Scoop, we got ESPN betting analyst Aaron Kate Dolan standing by. Game 7s, they're important to everybody, but especially important to those of us with vested interest. Aaron Kate here with some best bets. Aaron, what are your best bets in these Game 7s, starting with Magic Pistons?
Well, let's start with Cade Cunningham to go over 29.5 points. In this series against Orlando, we've seen his points prop range from 26.5 to as high as 29.5. So while I know this is a big number, this is one that I feel Cade Cunningham can hit over, knowing that he's averaging 33 points so far in this series. This is also a Game 7, so a guy like Cade Cunningham is going to have a big game. And I think that even though it's a high number at 29.5, I do like him to go over that. Elsewhere, I'm looking at Raptors Cavs to go over 211.5. This total feels like it's been too adjusted for me. It's actually been on the decline, but if we go back to Game 1, for example, this total was at 222.5 when it closed. So again, a lot of adjustment here, despite knowing that in this series, the over is cashed in 4 of 6 games. These offenses have actually been very good, despite the one outlier, which was game 4, when neither team shot good from 3. So even though this is a game 7 and defense should be key, I do think that this number has come down too low, and I would go over to 11.5.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you on that. Overs in this series 4 and 2, and one of the 2 misses was in game 2, missed by 1.5. Aaron, Kate, thank you for helping us stack that paper. Enjoy the games.
All right, we scanned the QR code and figured out how to get his sound working again. Quentin Richardson back with us. Now, Q, what has to happen for the Cavs to win Game 7 tonight?
The Cavs got to play outstanding defense. They got to keep the Raptors out of the paint, and they got to keep them out of transition. So that means they got to keep them off that offensive glass and stop them from getting easy putbacks. But I want to see. There's always that storyline about Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. These are 2 superstars that haven't gotten over the hump in the playoffs and struggled in different situations. This is the time for them to stand up and say, we're here. We got 2 of the better players in the series, and if us 2 deliver, we can deliver the win for our team. So I look for Donovan Mitchell and James Harden to be huge tonight to silence the haters.
Yeah, and the Cavs have to be able to do something defensively because they allow 14.8 fast break points per game, tied for the second most in the playoffs behind the Hawks, which is probably inflated due to that Game 6 blowout by the Knicks. As for the Pistons, they're trying to pull off that Philly special and come all the way back from being down 3-1. Maybe they come into the game wearing that LeBron James down 3-1 meme fit like Joel Embiid did yesterday. So if they're going to do it, what do they need to do?
First, they got to defend. They got to, whatever they did in that second half of Game 6, they got to bottle that up, and they got to bring that back to Detroit and start the game like that. They can't afford to have a first half where they go down 24 points. So they got to defend, and they got to defend the 3-point shot from the Magic. They can't allow them to get high from the 3. They got to keep them out of the paint. But also, just like Aaron said, I'm with her. Cade Cunningham has to be huge. He has to have 30-plus because they haven't shown the ability to have the other supporting cast be able to pop up and score the type of points that's going to be needed. So I'm expecting Cade to be Super Cade, Motor Cade, MVP Cade, whatever you want to call it. But he has to be big time in order for them to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he was big time in Game 6. He outscored the Magic by himself in the second half.
Crazy.
Was 0-18 in that spot. Jason Tatum, surprise scratch. Tyrese Maxey was asked Thursday about these matchups in Game 7.
Sometimes it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jims and the Joes. Like, who you have on your team. Our Jims and Joes got to be better than theirs. You know what I mean? It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be extremely difficult. Every single second going to be a roller coaster ride.
Jims and Joes and Joels. Embiid exploiting some of Joe Mazzulla's early matchups. Opening possession, 15-footer over Ron Harper Jr. Phillies up 2-0. We're not going to show you every bucket. We could have showed you a lot. VJ Edgecombe, 3 over Harper Jr. Not picking on him in particular, Harper, but the Celtics had 3 starters who didn't score. Early second quarter, Phillies up 11. Maxey attacks Hugo Gonzalez. Celtics minus 900 favorites at the start of this series, but they're down 5 at the half of Game 7 because Maxey and Embiid scored or assisted on 48 of Phillies' 55 first-half points. C's started the 4th on a 16-4 run. 8 minutes to play. Embiid buries the triple over Jaylen Brown, who just gives him space. 2 minutes to play. You got the small on big. This is standard operating procedure. Maxey drives right past Nemish Queta. Sixers had never beaten the Celtics in a playoff series without Dr. J or Wilt. But it's Jims and Joes and Joel's 34-12 and Tyrese's 30-11-7 that pull off an historic comeback for Philly.
Now you're on that list. Not about the X's and O's, but the what?
Jims and Joes, baby. Our Jims and Joes is good. Last 3 games, the whole series, honestly. We got a good Joe right here, man. A young Joe. Good job, bro.
What changed in the series was Joel Embiid came back, and they're a completely different team. And that's what changed in the series. And as far as the regular season and the playoffs, nothing changed.
I saw, number 11 on the team. Before I came back, he said they didn't care if I was playing or not, and they hadn't even adjusted or, had some sort of game plan around me. So I think he also helps that, when the other team doesn't worry about you and have some sort of game plan or being prepared for you, so it helps you have better games. So I think, number 11 for that.
We say good morning to our NBA analyst, Quentin Richardson. And Q, no Jason Tatum for Game 7, major blow for Boston. But when you look at the entire series as a whole, what went wrong for the Celtics?
Man, Scoop, I gotta say the shooting. The shooting is what hurt them the most. I mean, obviously, when you look at the clip and listen to Joel Embiid, when he came back in that game 7, he was absolutely the difference and what put everything over the top. They had no answers for him, no one that could stop him. But when you think about the Celtics, especially in this series, when they shot the 3 well, they won those games. When they did not shoot the 3 well, they lost those games. Last night, they were 13 for 49 from the 3, as you can see. And that wasn't cutting the mustard for them. And then they had, you couple that with them not being able to have an answer for Joel Embiid, and then down the stretch, Mr. Maxey, the Ferrari got going and did the rest down at the end of the fourth quarter to help them pull it out.
Yeah, this was the Celtics' first loss in a series when they led 3-1. They were 32-0 prior to this series. So the 76ers move on to face the Knicks in the conference semifinals. I suspect both fan bases will be very respectful to each other throughout the series. So what sort of challenges do you think Philly will give the Knicks?
For me, Scoob, I think if I was in that locker room, I would have to think the Knicks were over there wishing and hoping and wanting to play the Boston Celtics as opposed to playing Philadelphia. Because if you look at it, last year they just beat Boston basically at full strength before Tatum got injured and was out for the series. They were already looking like they had control of the series and were going to win it. Now you play this team in Philly where Joel Embiid can't be defended. I truly think he's the most dominant player in the interior, and I don't know that New York has an answer for him. They'll have to double and pull triggers and do different schemes to try and stop him, but he's going to be a handful for them, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle him.
Yeah, we saw it in the Celtics series. Both Embiid and Maxey became the first duo in NBA history with 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists each in a Game 7. Q, thank you. Game 7 heaven. We got 2 more first-round Game 7s in the NBA today. Tonight in Cleveland, the Raptors and Cavaliers square off. The home team has won every game in this series, and each of the last 3 have been decided by 5 points or less. That includes Toronto's 2-point win in Game 6 on Friday, but it all starts in Detroit. 3:30 Eastern on ABC as the Pistons host the Magic. This is just the 5th time that a 1-8 series has gone 7 games. The 1 seed has won the previous 4 instances.
Let's start right there in Detroit, where we find NBA analyst Tim Legler, who's on the call for this game. Tip 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Tim, Magic Pistons 1-8 seeds, Game 7. Through your eyes, what will decide this game?
Well, here's what I think is going to happen. I expect both stars to play really well. I look at Cade Cunningham. He's had a great series, but particularly the last 2 games to get them to a Game 7 at home. But I also look at Desmond Bane a couple years ago in a Game 7, similar circumstances on the road against Cleveland, 38 points, 16 rebounds. So he knows what the pressure of the moment is like. So for me, what it's going to come down to is which of those stars gets a guy to step up in a big way. Hey, look, maybe that's Desmond Bane. Maybe that's Tobias Harris for Cade Cunningham, who's had a very good series. Or maybe you go to the next guy. Maybe it's a Duncan Robinson who gives you 5-6 made threes in a game like this, or Jalen Suggs, who has struggled with his shooting, all of a sudden gets hot. This is a defensive-minded series. Shot making is going to be at a premium. Obviously, I expect a low-scoring game, so it really, for me, is going to come down to which of those supplemental scorers steps up. Who are we talking about after the game? That's going to be the team that's going to get this done today.
And the last time these teams played on this floor, the big stars, the A-listers, Cade Cunningham, Paolo Banchero, each went for 45. If we get another showing like that, the series turns into an all-timer. Tim, our other series, the 4-5, you expect it to be close, but through 6 games, these teams have the same total number of points, 669 on either side. Cavs hosting the Raptors. What are you watching in this Game 7?
Yeah, this has been a situation where home court has won out every single game, and now Cleveland, this is what you play the regular season for, to get this game at home. I think it's going to come down to their backcourt and Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. Both of these guys more than capable, but both guys have also struggled at times in situations like this, those pivotal games in this series, and nothing's more pivotal than obviously the Game 7. So I want to see how that backcourt plays. If those guys play well and have reasonable efficiency in this game, I really like Cleveland's chances. If those guys really struggle offensively, Toronto, I think, is going to sense that they have an opportunity to steal one on the road. They have an elite defense. It all comes down to how they guard Mitchell and Harden and how comfortable those guys are making shots. I think you'll get an indication for that early in the game.
And for Donovan Mitchell, he has 4 straight games scoring fewer than 25 points. That's a career worst stretch for him in the playoffs. Tim, we got to talk about last night. Sixers should have been dead and buried. They end up bouncing the Celtics in Boston in a Game 7. Boston blows a 3-1 series lead. As you take a step back, what went wrong for the Celtics in this series?
Well, clearly their three-point shooting let them down, but that's something that we know can be very susceptible with this team. If you live by it, you die by it. We talk about it all the time. You look at the three-point shooting in the games that they lost, you just can't win when that is your style of play, and that is what your identity is going to be. If you have nights like that repeatedly, this is what can happen. But on the other end of the floor, really, to me, was what turned it around. Just a complete lack of answers for how you guard Joel Embiid. They don't really have the personnel to do it, and I don't think they necessarily came up with the best scheme. The best scheme they had defensively was when they went to that zone. It did allow them to get back in the game. But when it came down to the individual matchups with Joel Embiid, they just didn't have the size. I didn't think their double teaming was very effective on him. And I thought they were playing him too many times with smaller guys that made it very easy for Joel Embiid to dominate. So for me, that was the pivot in the series when he returned to it. How were the Celtics going to adapt defensively to him? I just don't think they ever did a very good job of solving it. And at the same time, their three-point shooting dried up completely.
And not just the Sixers springing an upset, but they won the last 3 of the games played at the Garden in Boston. Tim, tomorrow the Sixers go to a different Garden, MSG, and face the Knicks. And depending on what happens today, I mean, the winner of this series might become the East favorite. What are your early thoughts on this Philly-New York series?
Yeah, look, I look at the Knicks right now, and I don't think there's any team playing better than them in the Eastern Conference, maybe even in the entire league, the way they closed out the Atlanta series. And I described that closeout game in the first half as perfect basketball, and I really believe that's about as close as you can get to it, the way they played in that game. So they're riding all of the momentum into the next series. They even got Mikal Bridges going in that last game, so he's going to have a different type of confidence heading into the series. So the Knicks are playing absolute peak basketball right now on both ends of the floor. So for me, it's going to come down to, can Joel Embiid continue to be as consistently dominant against this team? Tyrese Maxey has done very well against the Knicks in the past, including in the postseason a couple years ago. I expect him to play very, very well. You know, you've got a rookie in DJ Edgecombe who's going to rise to the occasion. He's shown that he's capable. It comes down to Embiid. Do the Knicks have a better solution from a personnel standpoint and a scheme standpoint against Joel Embiid? If they do, the Knicks are in really good shape because of how well they are playing offensively. But this is going to be a war. These teams don't like each other. The fan bases don't like each other. It's going to be electric, man, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
Yeah, rich history, bad blood between those teams. We got a hell of a game today, though. Magic Pistons at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Legs and the crew will have the call. Long day for you, Tim. Thanks for making some time for us here